Well, good morning, Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. Sorry this one's late. Boy, we got a lot to talk about today. First of all, I want to start by saying that there's a saying that says imitation is the best form of flattery. And initially I was frustrated, but I'm starting to determine what type of people watch this channel. And I broke them down into a few categories. Perhaps there's another category that I haven't thought of that you might fall in. But I've got a, Rush Limbaugh used to say that when he did a show, he was making show prep for the other channels. And that's kind of how I feel. I put a video out, and then a couple of days later, a bunch of the YouTubers copy me. And it may be a pure coincidence, but it happens so often I kind of wonder if it really is a coincidence. But anyway, we're not going to let that stop us. That's one form, and I've mentioned that for a reason. I'll tell you why with today's topic. Another top is the Swift haters, and we've got a bunch of those out there, and we're going to talk about those today too, and my thoughts on that. And the other top are the people that maybe work at a company I formerly worked at, and they're mad that I left there, and so they're really just watching out of curiosity to see if I fail. And then the other group, of course, is people that are genuinely interested in Swift. And truth be known, I'm glad to have all of you here, regardless of if you hate my guts or you like me, whether you think I'm a genius or an idiot. That's okay. I'm glad you're here. But a lot of you have been asking me about Bonehead Truckers. For those that don't know, that's a YouTube channel, and he shows videos of truckers making poor decisions, but he's become kind of famous for his Swift videos. So we're going to talk about that in today's video. I'm going to talk about why I think things are as they are, and what my opinion is of his channel and of him in general. I don't know him personally, just what I've read and what I've seen. So before we jump into that, speaking of YouTube, let's give this video a thumbs up. Let's share it on our social media platforms. Speaking of social media platforms, if you look down in the description below, you'll see a lot of great information. My Instagram's there, my Facebook's there, my email's there. Feel free to leave me a comment below. Do all those things in the description. You'll find a lot of other great information. Also, if you'd like more information about working at Swift, contact Michelle. Her information's below. If she doesn't answer, leave her a voicemail. She'll get back to you as quick as she can. She gets a ton of calls, so if you don't hear from her in a reasonable amount of time, shoot me an email and I will try to help you get in contact with somebody. But let's fire up the music and jump into today's topic. Here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs, with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round. For my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. And this is why I do this.
Alrighty, we're back. Let's start with Bonehead Truckers. And why is this important? Why don't I just ignore him like background noise? Well, I've had drivers tell me, and I mean recently, well, Todd, I could never work at Swift because Bonehead Truckers makes fun of them. If you're basing your financial decisions on the chance that somebody might make fun of you, then you're never going to amount to anything. I can't tell you how many people laughed at me when I said I was going to do a lease purchase, how many people laughed at me when I said I was going to start a YouTube channel. So you can't constantly be worried about what other people think of you. Why? Because they don't have your best interest at heart. Maybe some of them do, but most of them are afraid to step out of their comfort zone, so they're afraid to watch you step out of your comfort zone. But let me tell you what Bonehead Truckers is, in case you're not familiar with it. It's a channel I actually enjoy. It has very funny stuff on there. I don't always agree with his thoughts and opinions on there, but there's some really funny content on there. And Bonehead Truckers, he used to be a truck driver. From what I understand, he no longer drives. He sells merchandise on there. His famous saying is, "Shame on the mess." There's a lot of great videos on there. They're very well edited. He has music and everything with them. They're very funny. If you hadn't seen them, check them out. So, why do I think there's so many Swift videos on there? And why do I think he's so negative about Swift? Well, let's start a little bit before that. Let's back up a little more. When I started driving, the big companies, we all made fun of them, even if we worked at them. I'm sure we've heard Swift, Slow Wagon, and Fast Traffic. Slow Wagon and Fast Traffic, sorry I stuttered. Stop Whining, I'm Freaking Trying. There's all kinds of them. Digby was Did I Go Broke Yet? If you turn around and spell it backwards, it was Yes by Golly I Did. Navajo was Need a Vacation and Job Offer. JB Hunt had several. Schneider, not so many because it's such a long word, it was hard to do. But why do I think these companies get picked on more? Is it that they just have that much more unsafe drivers? Well, yes and no. Let's take Swift, for example. Currently, they have ballpark 12,000 trucks. Let's say across the trucking industry that 10% of all drivers are terrible. Well, that's going to mean in that number that I just gave you, Swift has 12,000 trucks. 10% of that is 1,200. That means there's 1,200 chances for a video to show up on Bonehead Truckers. Let's take the previous company I was at. They had 1,000 trucks. Let's say that 10% of their drivers are bad, just like Swift. Well, that's 100 drivers. That means there's 12 times more likely chance you're going to see a Swift truck in a video than that other company, just because of the 10% deal and the sheer size of the company. When I was at the terminal, I should have known 12,000, big place. I was blown away by how many trucks were there, how huge the terminals were. It's really, when you hear 12,000, it really doesn't do justice to how big the company is. Now, every company has good and bad apples. And so I get that it's funny, ha ha ha, but we need to kind of put it into perspective. Now, I mentioned that I don't like every single video he does. Let me mention one to you. There's a video he shows where there's a Swift driver at the Catskill. And the guy pans the parking lot. It's at a Love's. The parking lot's empty. Very few trucks in the fuel island, maybe one or two. And the Swift driver has got out of his truck and walked into the Love's. And this guy says on his video, "I don't need to scale. There's nobody waiting to scale, but I'm going to be on Bonehead Truckers." And not 10 seconds later, the Swift driver's walking out. And instead of asking the driver, why did he park on the scale? We don't know. Maybe the intercom's broke. Maybe they couldn't hear him inside and they asked him to come inside, because they have to get some information from you before they will print the scale ticket. But this guy just starts yelling at him, "Hey Swift, you're parked on the scale. You're going to be on Bonehead Truckers." And the guy admits in the video he didn't need to scale. He woke up, he saw it was a Swift truck, and he saw that this was an opportunity to be on Bonehead Truckers and maybe have a video that goes viral. So I think a lot of times that the problems we see with Swift are exaggerated, and I'm not saying they're not all great. I had a buddy that he got backed into this week by a Swift driver. I was getting loaded last week at a place. I saw a Swift driver back into another truck. So I'm not denying that there's some problems here, but again, I think it's that 10% that every company has. And I think it gets better by, instead of us making fun of them, us getting out and helping them and teaching them. And some of them are going to say, "Go screw off, I don't want your help." But some of them are going to, if you walk up and you say, "Hey, if I could show you an easier way, or if I could show you a better way, would you like to see it? And some of them will be real receptive to your information, especially if they're new in the industry. You know, that's when I started, that's how it was. If I got out and opened my hood for more than about 2 minutes, somebody would come over and say, hey, everything okay? You need some help? But now we're so busy with our phones and doing our own personal lives, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, that we don't get out and help each other. We don't socialize anymore and offer the advice that some of us more seasoned guys have to offer. So yeah, I still laugh at Swift jokes. I still laugh at JB Hunt jokes. I watch Bonehead Truckers. I'll admit I don't watch every video, but I find it entertaining as well. But I don't watch it for the purposes of determining if a company is good or bad. If I want to know if a company is good or bad, I'll pull their safer score. I'll look at them that way. And so I also want to remind you guys, we've had a lot of critics on the channel. That's going to happen when you have large growth. Let's try to keep it respectful. My grandkids read these comments, and let's not put a bunch of vulgar words. Let's not name call. If you want to disagree with me, great. Occasionally people change my mind on something. But if we're going to be negative or say something really rude or crude, let's just not do that. We're all better than that. Some of you get on here and say stuff that you would never say to a person's face, me or anybody else. And so say the things to me in a way that you'd say to me if we're standing face to face. And hopefully that's in a respectful way, as you'd want me to talk to you as well. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I'm on my way to Roanoke, Texas to deliver a load, and then I'm picking one up in Dallas and going to Louisiana. So you guys have a great day. Leave me a comment or email if you got any questions or things you'd like to add to this. Have a great day. Bye-bye.